Hello YouTubers, RogueMonkeyJr here, and in today's video we're going to talk about input lag and future frame rendering in Battlefield 5. Now, a lot of people have been talking about the input lag that Battlefield 5 has when using the option future frame rendering. Now you might be asking, why do I have input lag, what do I do to fix it, and what the hell is future frame rendering? So we didn't have this option in previous Battlefield titles, but generally speaking, your video card always has future frame rendering enabled. And what future frame rendering is in layman's terms, it means that the CPU will start rendering a frame while the GPU is finishing rendering another frame, and then as soon as the GPU is finished working, then the CPU will put that frame up on the GPU so it finishes rendering the frame, and so on and so forth. So you're always going to be a few frames ahead. Now what this tends to cause is, of course, input lag. So this is a very basic explanation of how future frame rendering works. A lot of you computer buffs might correct me on few certain things here, but I don't really want to go into detail into what future frame rendering actually does. But what it does do for people who have maybe a PC that is less powerful is that it will cause input lag. So I've been experiencing a lot of input lag in Battlefield 5, and I just can't run future frame rendering. It feels too off for me to actually use that, so I turn off future frame rendering and I take the hit frame rate wise, because future frame rendering does make the game smoother and just looks better and less choppy, but I just can't deal with it. I might need to upgrade my PC in the near future to actually fix these issues, but I just can't deal with future frame rendering on at 3 frames ahead. So what you can do is monitor the performance of your PC with MSI Afterburner. Now how you do this, you just download MSI Afterburner, then you put your CPU and GPU usage, and ideally you always want your PC to be running at its maximum performance. So you always want your CPU and GPU to be utilizing about 90 to 95% of their capabilities and capacity when you're playing a game. That means that the hardware is being used efficiently. So you can play around with that. You can also use the console command within Battlefield 5 to actually set fewer pre-rendered frames and get that sweet spot for the performance of your hardware, and also minimizing the amount of input lag that you experience with the maximum amount of pre-rendered frames. So you can do a lot of tweaking to get the best experience. I found so far that 2 frames ahead is the best experience for me. It gives me better performance than no pre-rendered frames and reduces my input lag considerably from the default future frame rendering option within Battlefield 5. Now you can turn this off. You have to do custom settings within the video settings to actually be able to do so, and then you can start tweaking from there on. And as soon as you see that the performance of your CPU and GPU is around 90% consistently and it's not dropping or peaking very high, then you know that you'll have hit the sweet spot and you're going to be at the optimal performance for your hardware and hopefully the least input lag to your mouse, which is what was most noticeable to me. Also, there'll be a link in the description down below from a Reddit user that posted a very detailed explanation on what future frame rendering is, and you can go read that if you want to tweak your settings and, you know, really reduce the input lag but have the best gameplay and FPS experience possible at the same time. It is quite lengthy, but it is definitely worth the read if you want to know more on it, and he even explains how to actually, you know, test out your settings, tweak them. He gives all the console commands, everything, so it is definitely worth the read if you want to reduce input lag and maximize the performance of your hardware. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below if you haven't touched it at all, if you're experiencing frame rate lag. If you have a beast PC, you might not experience this, but I was experiencing it a lot. So I wanted to make a little video explaining on how to reduce the input lag, and of course forward people to that Reddit thread, which is very interesting and very detailed. So if you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, as I try to release Battlefield and other first-person shooter-related content pretty much every day. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.